It's time for another edition of Inside Notre Dame Football presented by Tire Rack. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Tony Simeone, your host, of course, joined as always by the head coach, Brian Kelly. Coach, this week it seemed like it was your most complete performance as a team so far this year, the 27-13 win over Purdue. What'd you like in the win?
Well, first, I think it was in our preparation. I think we prepared much better, and the theme really was let's up our level of preparation. Let's not rise to the level of our competition, and certainly, we upped it with a Big Ten team, right? So I like that about our team. I liked our defensive performance. I thought we eliminated the big plays, and we took care of the football on offense. So those were really the major tenets. There are other things that we can clean up along the way. We haven't played our best game, so that's a good thing, but it was a step in the right direction.
The win for you, of course, was significant because it tied Newt Rockne for most wins here all time. I just want to ask you, when you came here, did you ever think that was a possibility, and did you get a chance to just put that into perspective over the weekend?
I got to tell you, I didn't know how many wins it took to get to Newt Rockne's record, so I never thought about that from a win-loss perspective, and I don't know that I ever got caught up in the wins as much as getting Notre Dame's football program back to where Rockne had it, and that was one of the best programs in the country, and I think we're back there. Now there's still work to be done. 105 is great, but we want to win a lot more football games.
All right, when we come back, we'll break down the 105th career win of Brian Kelly's career with a 27-13 victory over Purdue, next on Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by Tire Rack. Welcome back to Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by Tire Rack. It's now time for the game breakdown, and Coach, this week, as opposed to the first 2 weeks, offense off to a little bit of a slower start for you guys, but the defense, I think, has made improvements every single week, just generally holding Purdue to 3 points in the first half. What'd you like from the defense in this first half?
Well, as I mentioned to you before, I think it was more about tackling. It was more about controlling the line of scrimmage. And they had a big play player in Bell, and we needed to make sure that we got him on the ground. I think we did all those things. I think from an offensive standpoint, as you mentioned, we put our defense in some tough spots, and they were able to rally out and give us an opportunity to get going later in the first quarter.
I want to talk about a specific play that we might need to start setting aside for a weekly segment. It was, what did Kyle Hamilton do this week that took your breath away? The 4th and 1 stop that he made. Just talk me through that play defensively as a whole, but specifically for him to make another play as a safety like that. Just how special is that? Yeah,
so length, speed, and diagnosing the play. All of those things have to come into play. If you don't recognize the play, if you're not 6'4", you don't get there, and certainly the burst that he showed. So just, great players got to make great plays, and he certainly made one there on 4th down.
It seemed like that play was a big momentum play for you guys. Did you feel that on the sideline? Because you got great field position.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and we needed to come up with a 4th down stop. We hadn't had that big 4th down stop, and so I think that gave our defense a lot of energy, a lot of momentum, and then we were able to kind of settle some things down on the offensive side of the ball. They brought some pressures. We were trying to do some things with our protections to help out on some really good defensive ends that they had, and I think it allowed us to kind of settle down and get moving.
So it was 3-0 at that point. You get the big 4th down stop. Now on offense on 4th down, as you mentioned, the 4th and 3 connection for the touchdown to Kyron Williams. What'd you see on that play that got him free?
Yeah, so they brought a pressure which forces the ball out. Now they dropped out their nose guard and really squeezed that alley. But Jack did a great job of putting it right on Kyron, and when you're in cover 0 in that situation, which they had shown, that's why that play call was made. It was going to be an all or nothing situation, and he was able to make the catch, split the defense, and score a touchdown.
It seemed like right away the offense was more in sync, because after the field goal from Purdue made it 10-6, really one of the best passing plays of the year, I think, Jack Cohn to Avery Davis, 62 yards on 3rd and 7, a really big spot for you guys. What'd you see on that play?
Yeah, so they've been playing bracket coverage, which means the safety over the top and the linebacker inside were doubling Mike Mayer. And we were going to get a one-on-one shot on the post, and it was just a matter of time. Tommy called it at the right time. We got it, and just a great throw. And then you have to run to that catch. And so Avery had to run through that catch. He did a great job. It was a big play for us.
I want to ask you about Avery Davis because to me he's someone that frankly I admire the way he's gone through this program, played so many positions. How often do you use him as an example for the rest of your guys as someone that's persevered to put himself in a spot where now he's 5 catches for 120 against Purdue?
Regularly. We use him a lot. Here's a guy that's got moved to 4 different positions, I think it is, and now he's a captain on our football team making plays. We actually brought him up as a standard in terms, because his preparation was outstanding last week as well. So we said, look, that's what we need from all of you. The same kind of preparation is going to give you the same kind of performance, and he's been a great model.
So it was 2013 after field goal from Jonathan Dorr, and after one of those punts, you guys flipped the field and had it around midfield. And I mentioned earlier, Kyle Hamilton's good for one big one a game. It seems like Kyron Williams is too. He had the couple screens the last 2 weeks, the big 51-yard run, one of his best individual efforts I think we've seen since he's been on campus.
Yeah, we got a good push inside. He, kind of bounced off a couple of guys here and there, but I think what was most, impressive was the physicality at the point of attack, which, something that we're, trying to evolve to. It's been back and forth a little bit. We've got guys in and out of the lineup. We've had injuries. So it's really nice to know that we can start to see some of that physicality later in the game, and he does a great job breaking through a couple of tackles too.
You guys have seemed to improve every single week. The defense now down to 13 points in this third game. I'm just curious, when you get back into the locker room, what was the message about this week's performance? And it seemed like you were pleased with the way the team prepared specifically during the week.
Yeah, I think more than anything else is let's enjoy a victory in the manner in which we prepared for it. So let's celebrate it because again, we've talked about this. Winning's hard, but when you prepare the right way, you really can savor this kind of victory against a Big Ten team that has some really, really fine players. And so I wanted our guys to understand that they're winning this game was because of what they did on Monday through Friday. And if we continue to do that, we'll be in pretty good shape.
Thanks, Coach. When we come back, we'll take an even closer look at this past week's victory over Purdue with this week's edition of Icon. This is Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by TireRack.com. Welcome back to Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by TireRack.com. It's now time to take a closer look at this week's game with this week's edition of Icon.
Play fast, play free, play physical. That's it.
They're playing in front of the biggest crowd they've seen in Notre Dame Stadium in 2 years. And here come the Irish.
It's sold out days, baby. Yeah. We're going to show who the best team in Indiana is, baby.
4th and 1, quick snap around the edge, and a stop as Milton Wright tried to get there. And Kyle Hamilton said no.
That's big, that's big.
From their own 35, Cone protected, fires, caught in traffic.
Gotta finish the drive. Gotta finish the drive. Come on.
Cone throws in the middle, it's caught. Notre Dame, touchdown, it's Williams.
I love him so much. Let's go.
This is the momentum that Notre Dame needs.
They run it quicker, the Irish stuff it.
Let's go!
In motion, it's a backwards pass, so he's alive to throw. It's covered downfield, and he is down. Nano Safo-Mensah, 2nd and 1. Kurt Heinrich is there. Just 21 yards total on their last 4 drives. Swinging out underneath, and the stop by J.D. Bertrand.
Close that space, right?
3rd and 14. Foskey off the edge with the pressure. Hits the quarterback Plummer. And the Irish defense with a couple of excellent back-to-back series.
Look, we did some good things in the first half, okay? But it's a battle. This is your half. This is your game. Let's go win the football game. Let's go.
Walked him back, deep throw, Cone downfield. Avery Davis this time, all the way home. Notre Dame touchdown.
Let's go! Everybody rises to his level.
Hey, as soon as I seen the coverage, I'm like, oh,
We gotta go.
Fans come alive in South Bend. 3rd and 10, Irish bring 5. Plummer in trouble, he goes down. Myron Tagovailoa Amosa and Isaiah Foskey meet at the quarterback.
Hey, no, you're going to run the ball. So let's do it.
Irish take over, 6 and change to go. Good run, working through. Williams on the move. Kyron Williams holds on and goes all the way to the 5 and in for a touchdown. What a run!
Save him out. Give him away.
the throw to the end zone. It's intercepted by Hamilton. Off the hands of the tight end. 3rd and 7. O'Connell shot play downfield. Deflected and intercepted. The Irish have won 26 straight. Brian Kelly's 105th win.
First of all, it's a rivalry game. You got two teams from the state of Indiana. One of them is Purdue, and the other one is the University of Notre Dame. And we proudly hold the Shillelagh Trophy again for the 6th time in my time here. The guy that is going to get the game ball, because he took over the locker room, he was vocal, he pushed the standards, he did it today on the field, but he did it during the week, and that's Kurt Heinrich.
So Kurt, you guys are 3 weeks into the season, 3-0 now. Defense seems to be getting better every single week under Marcus Freeman now. What's maybe the biggest thing you guys have seen? You've made the adjustments to get even better every week into the season.
At the beginning of the season, the defense we have in is we play very fast and very free, and with that comes, holes and room for error, right? What we found to be our success last game, when we could find the blend to play detail-oriented football and playing fast and free at the same time, is when we'll be very successful. And I think we started to come along and play within the confines of our defense this weekend, and we saw the results.
So Kurt, you got the game ball this week, and Coach Kelly said it was your leadership during the week that helped the team prepare. What did you do to help the team get ready for Purdue?
One of the things that I focused on this week was that making sure our locker room was clean. Remember watching a documentary about the All Blacks, the rugby team in New Zealand, and one of the main things that they said to help them be so successful was having everything neat and being detailed, because the small details lead to the larger details. And if you're detail-oriented in the locker room, then it's going to translate out onto the field. And a lot of people skip over that fact. So one of the things that I challenged the team earlier in the week was, let's clean up the locker room, let's clean up the lounge, right? So that these details will carry on from the facility onto the field.
When you get the game ball and you get to do the alma mater up there in the locker room at the end and the fight song, what does it feel like when you have it in front of your team?
It was kind of weird at first, standing up there on the stool. First off, I was praying that the stool didn't give out and break because I don't know how many people have stood in that thing and how adorable it was, first off. Second of all, it was awesome. And the fight song, it sounded the best that I've ever heard it. Coach Kelly challenged us earlier in the week to learn the fight song because some of the guys were just mumbling the words and not really knowing it. But it actually sounded the best that it sounded since I've been here for a long time. But it was just an honor to be standing up there in front of everyone and singing alma mater's always been a dream of mine to do, and to see everyone else before me do it, it's a tremendous honor.
What's maybe the biggest impact it has had on you in your time here when you look back?
Kind of coming into my own and kind of coming into a man, because when you come to this place, you're a boy, right? And even though you are 18 years old and you come in here, I was 17 when I came here, but you're a boy, and you come out of here a man. And you kind of come into your own and you kind of find yourself and kind of find out the person that you're going to be for the rest of your life.
Next week, really exciting game, obviously, against Wisconsin in an NFL stadium at Soldier Field. What are you looking forward to most in that environment?
I've never been to Soldier Field, so first off, I'm really excited to go there. It's going to be really cool to play in front of 65,000 people and play in front of a huge crowd. And not that I haven't done that before, but I've never played Wisconsin, and the reputation they have for having big, mean, nasty offensive linemen. I'm excited to play against them and see what I can do.
Kurt, thanks for the time. Best of luck.
Yeah, thank you.
When we come back, we'll go inside the play with Irish Intel, presented by TireRack.com. Welcome back to Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by Tire Rack. It's now time for Irish Intel, where we go inside the play. Okay, Coach, this next play, another 4th down. This time you're on offense. We're going to see it right here. This is a, man across the board for you guys. You mentioned it earlier in our breakdown. The defensive lineman's going to drop out. Just tell me what your offense is looking here to diagnose on this play.
Yeah, so it's cover 0. You can see there's no deep safety, so we call that cover 0. And Jack really knows now he's got to go to the blitz beater. In other words, where can I get the ball out quickest, because they're going to bring more than we can pick up. And the blitz beater here is Kyron. Now, they also drop out the nose, which creates a little bit of a tight window in here, but he knows if he can get it out quick before it hits the hash, he should be able to get it in there He certainly does, and the rest is history because there's no safeties back there.
So the question I have is for Jack. When he sees this, as you say, he identifies the blitz beater. This is the kind of throw where if he's a second late, this is not happening, right?
Yeah, so if you watch his footwork, he's going to catch. He'll catch the football, open, and throw. And it comes out right away. And he could have probably even gotten it out a little bit sooner in that situation, knowing that it was cover 0. And we actually talked about that at halftime, is that if they give you 0 again, just catch, rocker, and throw, and it would have got it out a little bit quicker. The other hot route is 87 here. You can see they're 2 quick releases. We call them blitz beaters. So he could have gone either way. He wouldn't have got a touchdown if he went to the right. He got the touchdown by going to the left.
All right, Coach, our last play here is in the second half. Big 62-yard touchdown to Avery Davis. Again, you got the 4 wide receiver set. Talk me through what you guys look through on this.
Well, the
formation.
first thing is the biggest problem we have is that we're in 63 protection, and we're fanning to George Karlaftis, number 5. He's difficult to block, so we're going to fan the offensive line and add an extra offensive lineman to his side so we can get the ball off, because he's virtually impossible. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we know we're going to get double coverage here by the safety, and if we double Joe Wilkins, we're going to get one-on-one with Avery, and that's exactly what can happen. There's the double team that you see the center and the guard knock out George Karlaftis, which gives us the chance to throw the football off the double team by the safety. A well-executed play all the way around for a big touchdown.
So we're going to get a second look at it here from this sky cam look, which I think will illustrate what you were talking to. You see Wilkins at the right side of the screen. Just tell me what Jack is looking for. It's really that deep safety that's going to come up that lets him let it
Yeah,
go.
right on the ND. Watch the safety. Once the safety sits his feet down there and does not push to the middle of the field, the ball's coming out of his hands. He knows already that I'm going to throw it. And that timing with the line fanning to George Karlaftis gives us the opportunity to step in the pocket and make the throw.
When we come back, we'll wrap up this week's episode of Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by TireRack.com. Welcome back to Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by Tire Rack. Now time to wrap things up with the head coach, Brian Kelly. Coach, I think everyone's had this game circled on the calendar against Wisconsin. Now that it's here, what's going through your head as you prepare for Wisconsin?
Well, nationally ranked football team, one that's always at the top of the Big Ten, well coached. Paul Chris does a great job, and he's consistent in his approach. This is a physical football team, as I mentioned, well coached, smart. Jim Leonard, their defensive coordinator, one of the best in the country. So you know what you're going to get. Ball control, physicality at the point of the attack, an outstanding quarterback, young, athletic, that can throw the ball. And then defensively, big, physical. When you talk about Wisconsin football, we better buckle up the chin straps. And there's no better place to be but to be at Soldier Field and in Chicago for a Shamrock Series game.
As you get set for a big matchup like this, then what do you tell your team throughout the week to prepare them for the bright lights?
Yeah, you have to match the opposition with what they're going to give you, and that is fundamentally sound. So trust your teaching, trust your coaching. There has to be intensity and physicality to the game, and then you got to go make plays. There's going to be a few plays that are going to separate these two teams, and that guy that makes a couple of plays is probably going to be the difference in this game.
Coach, as always, thanks for the time. We'll talk to you after Wisconsin.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, that does it for this week's edition of Inside Notre Dame Football, presented by Tire Rack.